Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Friday the 20th of December. Okay, last day of term here before we take the probably a 2 week holiday for me, so won't be putting out any live videos in the next couple of weeks if you're listening for these in the mornings. Take the fair break, I think. Right, let's have a look at these markets as they stand today then. First things first, let's look at data coming out, releases, and we've got a bit today. I overlooked this initially. The UK retail sales came out absolutely atrocious, coming in well less than predicted. Slightly up from the previous reading, but still horrendous for this time of year. Canadian data coming out later at 1:30, and the key US inflation data or inflation monitoring tool they use, the core personal consumption expenditure price index, is coming out there at 1:30 as well. So there's some potential for some reasonable moves this afternoon, subject to those numbers. Right, let's look at. We'll just look. There's a couple of speakers there. Fed's Williams speaking at 1:30. We've got Fed Daily speaking at 12:30 actually. So some earlier data. Okay, there's nothing else there in terms of speakers. The rest of it's all there. There's some lower key data coming out, but doesn't normally affect the market. So what for us today then? Let's have a look then. So the euro dollar didn't get much of a bounce at all yesterday. In the end it fell just above its daily pivot. At the moment, for some reason, well, it's caught these bottoms again. It looks like it's just working off the double bottom. Maybe buyers coming in there. I can't see anything too obvious why. As yet German data was sorry, just go back there a second. There was some data. Where are we? Come on. Oops, wrong way. That's not where I want to go. Go back to the top. There we go. Yeah, some German inflation data, slightly higher than expected. Producers price index slightly higher, so maybe that's helped the calls this morning. Anyway, it's not a wonderful looking market as we sit here at the moment. In terms of setting up for trades, in fact I can't see anything at all at the moment on this euro. That was yesterday's sell-off eventually coming quite late in it. Well, I was going to say late morning, actually it was 12 o'clock when it started breaking down. It would have been a reasonable trade. It didn't. Well, it would have now got to the double bottoms there. It didn't get down to its S1, but the S1 was a long way away. Might still do that if you're in that trade, but for now, nothing to be done here for me. It might all turn back again later. The pound, well, there was no cheer in the markets yesterday, even though they kept interest rates stable. Everyone realizes what a dump the current party are doing of the markets, and the pound, well, I can only see it slightly starting to sell off more than it should do. All the woes and everything else, and the picture that they've painted the current Labour Party, I think the markets are just starting to believe it more, and their actions are abysmal. And well, there we go. I think we're seeing it here. I'm starting to think that this pound, yep, it could get sort of some rallies, but the market's starting to believe their doom and gloom from the previous what they took over, and well, they're going to make it doom and gloom even if it isn't. So you see, I'm cheerful with them. What would I be looking at today? If in the event of it getting back to its daily pivot, I'd be looking potentially at a short from around that sort of area. It did break through yesterday. It was looking strong with the news yesterday initially there, but sold back in the afternoon. Anyway, US dollar yen, higher lows kicking through here. Quite awful what's going on here. Divergence at the tops there on the yen. Okay, so well, we've just seen the yen handing it back. I mean, we've come back and we're not that far away from the peak of earlier in the summer there, 162. We're only, well, 600 pips admittedly, but the way this is going, it's not looking great. Let's say a bit of divergence across the highs there through the Asian session. That's triggered the short sort of idea of it, but watch out. This could find some support here, and that might be a point of buying. Aussie US dollar. Aussie US dollar. The Aussie didn't make much of a recovery yesterday. Not looking particularly interesting today. It really isn't. Looking good at all at the moment. I'm just looking in terms of a continuation. I mean, it did eventually. It's snuck on upwards a little bit yesterday to foul, but it's. I'm just looking to see if it starts breaking below the daily pivot again. We could see a move back down towards the S1, those prior lows. So see what happens this morning. US dollar CAD. CAD yesterday pulling back a little bit, but it's so weak against the dollar here. Dollar just pushing up. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it sort of consolidate a little bit more where it is as we lead into the Christmas week. I'm just looking at what's going to happen here. Are we going to a breakdown of these lows would give us a lower high and suggest a bit more of a correction to the downside, but we could be just as well into, if we find some support somewhere near where it is at the moment, we could see a switch back above the daily pivot there and a target towards that R1 and the previous highs there. So really could be interesting if it starts breaking back above the pivot. Obviously we do have data out later on it, so got to watch for that. The New Zealand dollar, well, I heard yesterday that at least one of the guys that was still in the Canadian, the New Zealand dollar on the short, and managed to close out near the lows here, which is goodly information. Yesterday it did break down again, but again at the moment it's very much like the Australian dollar here. If it does back off here and push back through the daily pivot, I'd be tempted to look for the S1, and the previous lows are just above that S1, but look around that sort of area. So there's a possibility there. Swissie's just not really doing too much at all at the moment. It's consolidated. It's starting to get a bit of a consolidation pattern in there at this stage. Bit of a penalty pattern kicking in, maybe across, well, you can't really draw a line across the lows there because they're not there yet, but it is looking quite horrible at this stage, as is a lot of these markets. That's about it on the. I'm going to look through the rest of the pairs later. Likes the euro pound, made some money on this the previous day, but yesterday, well, it all turned in the morning there, and regardless of leaving interest rates untouched, the markets are non-believers in the pound at the moment. Anyway, there we go. Not a lot to be seen there at this stage. I will look through the other cross pairs. There may be some opportunities. Looking at the other usual suspects then. Gold, well, did the same sort of price action we've seen with the euro and everything else here. It pulled up a little bit only to roll back here. Currently not looking great at all. Just sort of thinking of maybe a trend line across the lows here. It's very much like the New Zealand and the Aussie actually in its shape here. If it starts breaking back below this, preferably this afternoon, it's breaking below that daily pivot, maybe a ride down to its prior lows in the S1. Right, oil is off this morning by 0.5%. Starting to continue this sort of move down. Just not a nice finish to the year in terms of, for me at least, in terms of some of this price action. Very choppy. consolidation, fly up and then fly back down again. Looking soft where it is at the moment. It looks like it could be, if it comes back off to this S1 and starts breaking through that, then the S2 would be a good target for later today. But it's been so unreliable. I've just not been trading it. It's a couple of weeks now and no trades on it. But it's probably the best it looks in terms of the downside at the moment, back down towards these lows at least. Anyway, I shall leave that for now. S&Ps, it's been going on there. These are off this morning. So yesterday couldn't manage a retracement. It just kicked in. Let's come down to the hourlies here. Just bang into, look at that, into the daily pivot. Chopped for a while through the Asian session here. Then it's been selling, looking soft. And starting the day off softly at the moment. Equity market's just not looking good as we run into next week's Christmas week. We'll look at the Dow. Have we run into yet another? Okay, so that was 11 days yesterday of downside on the Dow. We haven't seen that for a long time. Are we going to make it 12? It doesn't look particularly great at the moment from what we're seeing. It really does look soft at this stage here. And again, it looks at the same sort of pattern as we see through the currencies, with this retracement into yesterday and then the sell-off towards the afternoon and through the early Asian session. To me, a lot of them just look like they got the potential to roll back again. Who knows, these double bottoms may hold things up and give them a bit of chance, but the markets in general are looking pretty grim. We're off nearly 0.5% on the FTSE, the small futures this morning, coming off here solidly. There does not seem to be a lot of cheer out there. Retail sales coming out so low. It's not cheering the markets whatsoever. Okay, it's not happening for the FTSE, and finally the DAX, even that's rolling back further. I've been sort of staying clear of wanting to short this, but this is really looking quite weak at this moment. Just looks like, I mean, it's already through its S1, S2. Looks like it could be even shaped up for its S3 today. Saying that, yesterday was very flat, so these pivots are very, very tight. So this is more likely when we're going to see an S3 hit. Anyway, looking soft from where we are at the moment. We'll see what happens post 8 o'clock. But that's pretty much it today. Not a great deal for me there at the moment. We'll see how things develop as we go through the morning. But it doesn't look like the last day is going to be a big day in terms of trading. Anyway, I wish you all a very happy Christmas if you celebrate it, or holiday if you don't, and Happy New Year to those that celebrate that as well at this time of year. Anyway, take care. Catch you later. Bye for now.